What's up? Welcome to this new series of making processes and workflow. This is very important for any job or any task you're doing, whether you're doing personal work or business work. It makes sense and it's easier if you have a process documented, tasks, workflow. All of these fall under project management. But we're not going to talk about project management. This is a wide subject. We can talk about simple ideas that belong to project management that you can use without having a project management uh, certificate or degree, because some of them have, some people have project management certificate or degrees. So myself, I don't have it, but the reason I'm talking about tasks, workflow, because I had to change jobs different times, and I found out even if you have a lot of experience in a certain field and you move to another function, another job, and even if it's along the same line, the same field, uh, it lot of elements, lot of tasks change, a lot of type of work change. It does not stay the same. So, but one element does not change: processes and procedures that you can use in any job you do, even though they're different. But the idea is to use a process workflow, and some companies have their own process and flows. You can use it. Sometimes you have to make your own if the company does not have specific workflow or task. And even if they have steps, what you're doing, what you have to do, it's still useful to record and document process, your own process, because you can follow it the way you understand it, the way how simple it is. Again, workflow, processes, tasks, they belong to project management, but they're a bit different. It depends how you approach it. So you can you look at the end result. You have to plan it just like in steps. Let's say you're doing specific job, and every job has so many processes. You're not going to be doing one process in your job. There are so many processes. But let's take one process and one function you're doing in certain job. Any job you're gonna work, it's gonna have it's gonna have so many steps, so many tasks you're gonna be doing, so many documents are involved, just like any other job. So it's very important to have your own steps, the way you understand it after you learn. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining this video. Joshua, hi. Hi, Aiko. Hi, yo. Welcome. Yeah, let me know if you have any question. We're talking about workflow, process making, and how important it is for any job you do in life, whether it's personal in your home, you're doing certain, work, or for your business or somebody else's business. It's very important to have certain processes documented so you can follow it, because you're doing the same job, it's repeating, the same process is repeating. So you have to document it the way you understand it, that makes it easy on you. Like step one, step two, step three. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? There are a lot of software you can use, like for documenting a process, creating methods and the procedures. But in the beginning, you have to make it simple and write your own depth, steps, how many steps, what task you're doing, how do you relate them, what documents you need, you know, and it will be helpful if you uh, write the steps down, and then you can have a flow chart or flow chart. Yeah, they call them flow chart. It will help you a lot because the flow chart gives you a picture or pictorial view, and then you can add information to it versus text like 1, 2, 3, 4. Because sometimes you're not going to be able to follow a certain process from step one to step 10, let's say, or 20, because sometimes the process doesn't apply. So you have to introduce questions whether this conditions, whether this condition applies or not. Then you'll move to another step. So this is why first you write down what you want to do, the steps, and then sometimes there are conditions. Then you can try the flow chart when you have conditions. Like when you look at them, you can ask, you can have those diamond, and then you can have questions, uh, and you can ask a question when you have it, yes or no. Welcome, Ga- Gavin Bird. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. Yeah, let me know if you have any question. We're talking about, as you saw the title, this is the first video I'll be making more about processes, workflow, steps. It all falls under all of these topics. They fall under project management. But when you talk about project management, it's a wide topic, so you have to be specific. I'm being specific about making certain processes for your job or what you do in your own process. Even when you work for Whitney Taylor, welcome. Hi, thank you for joining. So when you do a job, whether you work for somebody or you work for yourself or you're doing something home, uh, the job entails so many steps. And if you're doing it one time, it's okay. You don't have to record it. But if you're doing the same job all the time, you have to record it because it becomes easier with time. But if you don't have it recorded, this is what they call methods and the procedures. So this way you can follow certain process because you're doing the same job all the time. So it makes sense to record it. And I'm going through this now because when you change jobs, even if you're in the same field, things will be different. Every business, every company have their own processes. They have different processes. They don't have the same one. There's common areas what you do, but the way they follow the work is different, and the way they organize the steps or the workflow is totally different. And you're learning it. You try to use what you had before, like the skills you have with your experience from another job, but it does not work. This is why, as you're learning, you have to type your own process, your own steps. So this is what I'm thinking. If you have any idea or if you have any questions, let me know. We're talking about this is the first video in this topic. I'll be talking about workflow, processes, steps, how to make your own steps, and what software you can use. But initially, we're not going to use software. I'm going to make it simple by just writing the steps for the process, and then after writing them, when you have conditions that have to be met, and then you got to ask question, is this condition met or not, yes or no? And there's other routes you have to follow. In this case, we can have a flow chart. The flow chart will help a lot. So this is very important because it doesn't matter what you do in life, there's steps you follow to achieve certain tasks, certain kind of work, whether you call it the task or function or path or sequence of ideas. Some people use different terms, but when it comes to project management, it's the same terms. They're a specific term you have to use, like workflow, task, charts, those. But initially, we're not going to add everything together. I like things to be simple in the beginning, simple and the clarity, clarity. I'm all about simplicity and the clarity. So if any of you is interested in this topic, let me know. Talk, submit your questions and let me know. Let me see if somebody is, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. Let me see. I'm back. So again, we're talking about, as you saw the title, about making processes and documenting your own process whenever you're doing something. And it starts with writing the steps, step one, step two, step three, and then later on you introduce a flow chart after you type the text one through 10 or whatever. Then you introduce a flow chart because it will be easier when you look at a pictorial view of the steps versus the text, typing text one, two, three, four. So this is and if you're let me know if you have any questions about what's a process, what are steps, and if you're interested to learn about this, and if you have any questions, let me know. Or if you have any ideas, share your ideas with the audience. This is a two-way conversation where you can share your opinion and what you do. We're talking about making your own process for specific tasks, whether at work or at home. So let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, if you're on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in this kind of topics, I'm gonna be start. I'm gonna start talking about the workflow process. They all fall under project management. So let me know what you think. If you have any ideas or any questions. Yeah. So maybe I should be making. Yeah. So let's say this is. So if you look here, let me see. I don't know if you see this. So this is the. Let's say you have a process you want to follow. You go like step one. Okay. Step one. Then you do step two, step three, step four, step four. Okay. Then step five, step five, and you got step six. So these are steps. So now sometimes step one or two, they depend on each other. So this is when a flow chart comes into play. So for example, you start from here, step one, start, and step six ends the process, ends the process. So let's say you have step one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and you have conditions sometimes whether step three applies or not, step three or four. And you can start with a flow chart in the beginning. It's, those symbols can be found in flowchart software, and other project management. So You start from here, start, it says start, and then you go down and you start, you do step one, step one. Then you do step two, step two. Now, then you go down. Sometimes you have a condition here or questions. You have conditions here. And then if the condition applies, you achieve the task. It says yes, here you go this way. If the condition is does not apply, you go the other way and it says no here, so you don't do it. And then you go down, you do something here. So basically, it's very important to use flow charts, not only steps, writing steps, because the steps can be complicated. You have to put conditions sometimes. You know, the conditions, sometimes the condition does not apply, yes or no. So you have to use yes or no, and you go in different direction to, so, and this is, these symbols are standard in project management. You can, you can use them, and they have certain meanings. For example, this oval shape on the top, actually the square with round corners this way, it's the start and the end of the process. The square or the rectangle here, the rectangle, it's in action, like step one, do this, do that. And then this diamond, it will give you conditions, like let's say step three, then there is a condition here. You can ask a question. Let's say, do we have the material to go to step three? If yes, we can go to step three. If no, we go back here to order the material, just for an example. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know about workflow tasks. What's a workflow? What's a task? And why you need to nail down a process or to type down a process. Yeah, so ask questions about the how to make a process, how to follow its steps in a process. Questions. Oh, this is the top fan. What the top? I wonder what's a top fan here. They're saying top fan, top fan. What is this?